It was me again.
What do you mean it was you again?
It was me, man. Hey, summertime sports and just kids being off means guess what coaches will do? Take time, and they will get all the time, DK. My son had a baseball game, actually played at Vanderbilt Stadium today. Really cool moment
Oh,
for him, man. Yeah, my oldest. We're doing a local tournament here this weekend, and right after that, we went and grabbed a quick bite. Had to drop him off for basketball practice. Got a lot going on here, DK.
I like it.
On the other side of town. But you know what? It don't matter because the Ramon Foster Show is about to start.
The big rage is about to get going.
Yeah. Oh, we locked in, man?
Yeah, we certainly are. Let's go.
Let's lock in. Here we go.
The big rage.
I actually like that now, man. The big rage. Hey, my brother he will give you a nickname. I promise you that.
He's not going to beat the big rage because
No.
he can't.
He can't do that one. Not now. Not after he set this one up, right? Gosh, it would have been really good as a player.
The big rage?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're way too nice. It never would have stuck.
Yeah, that's
I don't
fair.
care what your
That's
on-field persona was. But see, the problem is, if that was your on-field persona, you would have still doing it with the big smile.
I would have did it. Hey, you don't know me. I love it. I just saw somebody say they were on the west side of Nashville. That's exactly where I was the west side of Nashville just a second ago. I dropped my son off at his high school and had to not speed. I had to come home and get ready to do this show, man. I actually enjoyed this.
We are talking football today. We are talking Steelers mini camp, which completed its second of 3 days today over at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. This was the day for the offense, meaning in terms of their access and their availability for the day, particularly the coaches, and particularly among those coaches, the offensive coordinator.
Hey.
And not to just keep grabbing at the low-hanging fruit, but Matt Canada is an issue. And Matt Canada, he's going to be one of those guys who, no matter what it is that he says, it's wrong. Like in the public side. You know what I'm saying?
Heck, yeah, I know what you mean.
If he just came out and say, you know what, it's time we found a cure for cancer, they'd be like, shut up.
Shut up. Not you. You didn't find it.
Yeah, that's right. What was your role?
But hey, oh my gosh. A little bit of corn, then we're going to get back. You are 100% correct. It is hump day. Thank you, little bit of corn. He said, I do believe it's hump day, right, Moan?
Keeping us sharp.
But DK, I will say this when it comes down to Canada and the pressure that folks put on him. Pittsburgh is different. I almost think any storied franchise is different. The expectation of winning means a whole lot in Pittsburgh. And truthfully, I've said this time and time again, right, DK? The players, the coaches, and even the ownership comes down to like, hey, our fan base will question it, right?
Yeah.
There's a level of success that's expected inside of Pittsburgh, a level of operation. I have somebody who's a Titans fan, because I'm down here in this area, said that he was reading a book about, winning storied franchise or winning businesses is what it was. And said the model that was used actually was the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it was just like 3 coaches in over 40 years. Ownership stays out of the way, but prominent in business decisions and just the level of winning and expectation. I was just like, you're right. It is. So for a coordinator to come in and have this surplus of talent, also followed by and with a franchise Hall of Fame quarterback in Roethlisberger, right? You expect that ship to continue to sail. You expect wins. You expect production. You expect recent history of the offense being a certain way, and it's not that right now.
There's a difference between, of course, the literal usage, as you're saying, of expect and predicting or anticipating that it will happen. My level of confidence in the man and his ability to do that job at an NFL level is still close to zero. I'll buy him a mulligan and maybe 2-3 games because of the way the rushing attack specifically was, the way it came around. I feel like that was worth something when you average 146.4 yards per game during a 9-game stretch in which you go 7-2. That's something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I will at least say, hey, you got that part right. But where's the rest?
Yeah.
Okay. Where's the intermediate passing? Where's the deep passing? Where are the shots? I don't want to just hear. The only thing I hear, even from fans and supporters of Kenny Pickett in the offense, the only thing I hear on a consistent basis is, well, he had those late drives.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fair.
Late drives are different, man. You're facing a different defense. You're facing a different mindset. It is to Kenny's credit and to everybody in the offense who made those plays in Baltimore, especially in Baltimore. Okay. And to some extent, Matt Canada, but that's not an offensive rhythm.
It's not, because 2 minutes way different than, hey, call it and go.
Tell him. Seriously.
It is. The first 10 is way different than the next 20 in the first half. Like, that's just how it is, man. Getting the ball in the middle of the field and you have to like settle down. It's like, okay, because then your true job is actually on the line. Hey, call some and make it work for 4 yards. Okay, now give us 3. Okay, now give us another 4 again so we can get a first down. That's the actual job. No huddle is catching the team off point is what you're doing in those situations, by surprise in a sense, because it's so fast, it's so quick. Now you say to yourself, well, why don't you do that all the time? It does work in spurts. But my college team, the University of Tennessee, does an up-tempo style of offense. But guess what happens in those up-tempo style of offenses, DK? You get behind, or you get third 3 and out super fast and put your defense back out there. That's why having a methodical, efficient offense is being asked of Matt Canada right now. And I love the fact that pressure's on, DK, because we'll see the best him right now.
You would hope so, yeah. I mean, people are getting at his beard. He has a beard now. Okay, well, they hadn't seen him. I mean, we've seen it for months now. The public got to see the beard because he was interviewed today. That's what I mean. If Kenny Pickett shows up wearing a beard, beards are in. Beards are good. Matt Canada shows up in one, and it's like, he has a beard. That's what I'm talking about. Listen, there's plenty enough legitimate points of criticism where Canada is concerned. There really are. There's a litany of them. We don't have to get, weird about it.
No, absolutely not. But that's the thing though, man. Beards are good, man, but it's also a cover-up. What does that face of yours actually look like? And that's what we're asking right now is, what does this offense actually look like with Kenny Pickett at the helm and just controlling of it? You got a bunch of talented guys. I hate this guy. That's my brother, if y'all didn't know. Ron is in the chat right now. He has a show as it stands.
He's taking it over.
He is taking it over. I can't wait to wrestle him when I see him soon. But so everybody's mentioning Matt Canada's beard.
Wait, you wrestle, Ron?
We'll tussle every once in a while. Just lock up real quick, DK. I got a video of us just outside of a restaurant, just locked up and going at it, because Ron's also 6'7", so he's not a small individual.
I did not know that.
Yeah, no, all of my brothers are 6'5" and taller. Crazy. My son, my oldest now, I think we're eye to eye. It's weird. It's weird, DK.
That alone I can't picture, since I haven't seen RJ in person in a while.
A 6'5", 14-year-old. It blows my mind. Almost 6'6". But with that being said, rated R gang, I see you, big beard gang. To me, everybody's craving over or talking about this beard thing being a thing. To me, it's still a cover-up. What are you actually going to do? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just where I'm at. A beard is a cover-up, DK. Give me this offense. You hear me?
What was the cover-up then when Ben had a beard like Saddam coming out of the bunker?
Ben was in savage mode is what that was. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I was completely fine with the pandemic and COVID and everything else until I saw Ben, how he was handling it. And I was like, whoa.
Is that
Ben's
the deal
barber
breaker?
can't come within 6 feet of him, clearly.
Oh, my gosh. But with all that being said, though, DK, I need points. For me, we need at least 24 this year.
I said 25 because last year's figure, and this is offensive points, by the way, not Steelers points, okay? The Steelers' average was 18.6.
That's bad.
That is bad. So you put another 7 on that, quite literally, And what are you doing? You're at 25, and you're putting yourself into a mix where you're not raising it too high. Okay, when you guys were going, what was the goal?
24. Or what was it, 27?
Not under Haley. It was 30.
30.
Yeah,
it's
I was
30.
There too.
My bad, Todd.
Yeah. And he would say it out loud because he didn't care if people would apply that pressure back.
And you know what's so fascinating about that too, DK? They scored 30 points, man. They win against Cleveland the first time. Oh, my gosh. This team is friggin' crushing it. They're the number 1 seed in the AFC with the defense that we have.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're looking for, man. A beard like Saddam was the clutch one. I like it holding 92. That was so clutch, man. But give me 24.
I've used it before.
Have you?
Yeah.
Give me 24 points a game. That's all I ask of Matt Canada moving forward. If he does that, though, DK, to you, because you see him and you got to face him and you're going to ask him all the hard questions when it comes down to it. 24 points a game, keep his job into 2024?
If he gets to 25 points a game, and has a 1 touchdown increase over last year, if we take this to the natural extent, instead of just saying, here's the number, what you have to look at is how the offense would accumulate that extra touchdown. How would the offense get that? Well, stands to reason the offense would come with some kind of rhythm, would show some kind of imagination after the first series.
Yeah.
Okay. Instead of just the 10 that he wrote down all week.
That's
and then
bad.
After that, it's like nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
The offense will have found a way to break the occasional big play once in a blue moon. Okay.
Yeah.
Deontay Johnson will have found a way to contribute more than 0 touchdowns to the cause. So all of these different things will have to come into play. Do you see what I'm saying? As opposed to just saying, here's another touchdown. It's about what would have to happen for that other touchdown to show up.
I'm riding with you on every single point, DK, but I have one question about one of your points.
Okay.
Deontay getting to the end zone. Is that a him problem or is that an offensive play calling problem?
Yes.
That's the answer I was looking for.
Yeah, because it is. Because here's the thing. You can, I don't want to get into describing plays that I've seen.
Right.
Your team is over there these 2 days running a whole lot of 2-point, and I'm not going to get into that, okay?
Fair.
Because that's also goal line offense. It's the same thing, okay?
Yes, it is.
When you see what these guys are doing, there are plays that are not perfect for him. How was that for me?
And do you think he got those plays because he was an elder statesman? Is that why we got to feed him? Because there's different ways to feed the guy the ball in the middle of the field for him to get wide open.
Well, I think more than anything, what ended up happening with the Steelers is that they were actually not that bad in the red zone in 2022. But when they got down there, they didn't need him, so they didn't use him. Okay, that was a lot of what happened. Okay, they were looking for the bigger bodies. They were looking to pound it in. And you know what? More often than not, again, to their credit, they did.
Yeah, they did. And of course, to me, I look at Deontay's situation as I've watched 3 different coordinators in Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken, while I was there. 3, maybe 4. Be able to create. Be able to say, hey, this is what we're doing, and we're going to go with this. And don't ask me no questions. I don't know if that's the case right now, DK. Now, I'm not in that locker room, but for the ones that play call well, from Bruce Arians, Randy Finkner, Todd Haley, they would tell y'all, look, I'm not trying to hear what y'all input is. I love what you'll tell your coaches, but this is what we're running this weekend. I love to know if that was the case with this team, DK.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
You can't have this type of sputtering and guys don't have anything to say, because that's the other portion of it. If it's not working well for you as a play caller, then me as a player, I got to suggest. It's been times we've been in games, Munch, hey, that ain't working. Sweet Feet, Coach Surratt, that's not Cougs. We got to stop running that play. That play's not working. And that's where the frustration sets in. Now, again, they did have a break the last 7 games of the season, right, DK? But that doesn't solve our problems of having a very efficient offense. It's still somewhat worrisome.
I'm going to pick on Denny here. Denny's always got good stuff to say. He won't cross the line. He won't come over from the uncle's table. This is our guy today, Denny. Denny, we either need to get you over there, or we need to get somebody to come over and drag you. You're in here all the time. You have all kinds of good points. It's hard to run routes from the 5-yard line, and what do you know? And then Bob comes along and he has to show you up. Listen, this is how this works. All you have to do is go to dkps.net/join. We're happy to have you. You get access to all these other wonderful trinkets that we offer. Am I right, Moan?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, and look at the rest of everybody in here. Everybody but you. That's not okay.
Happy. They're the after picture and the before and after.
Thank you, DK. Cross that picket line, man. This ain't a lockout.
Here, watch. I'll be the before and you be the after. Ready?
Yeah.
See? What a ridiculous show.
Yes, indeed, DK.
Just a ridiculous show. Coming up next, though, in an attempt to try to make it less ridiculous, or possibly more, will be the only segment that matters.
Send those questions is because he was talking about, hey, Mom.
At DK Pittsburgh Sports, we take pride in coverage that connects our city's fans to their favorite teams. Now, that connection's stronger than ever. Introducing our all-new state-of-the-art app. Find expert inside reporting and original podcasts. Check live box scores. Track the latest stats. Chat it up with our community of thousands of fans, all in one place. The new app from DK Pittsburgh Sports. Coverage that connects.
Your brother's just not giving up. Look at that.
And I see him doing his show, too. That's what's so crazy about it. You hear me?
DK, be sure to keep the big rage in line over there.
I swear. And I see him
The best part is I can picture him typing these things, just slapping his knees, laughing up a storm, too. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what he's doing. But it's all out of love, man, and I'm here for it.
Hand over fist will have the best point that anybody brings up today, which is, God, I can't wait for real pro football. Yeah, we kind of need that. Although minicamp is realer, and we're getting the next time we see one thing, Moan, about Latrobe, your head coach does not ease his way into the process, does he?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. We're diving head first into that thing. You hear me? All of your gripes, I don't want to hear about it. If it ain't all purely football, shut up about it. Like, hey, if you got some family issues, okay, we're going to handle that. But I absolutely love the fact, DK, that we're about to hit a little bit of a dead period because that just means the buildup is that much more pure. I love this time of the year.
It's fun, and the buildup is both real and it's palpable. You can feel it over there.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, there's an energy that everyone understands and accepts that OTAs to minicamp is a ramp up. It's still not physical. It's still not something that you can evaluate, but they're getting closer to it. It feels more real. Chris Davis, a member, comes in and says, "Hey, Moan, do you think we need to add another free agent? If so, which position?"
I know what everybody's thinking. Probably outside rusher. You know, I don't think so, DK. The way we're set right now, there's youth, maybe D tackle, but I don't think there's anybody out there that's willing to be signed right now. My answer, I'm going to stick with, is no. I don't think there's another guy that needs to be added to it because you can't tell me where we're going to put somebody. I'm rolling with what we got, DK. I'm rolling with it.
Me and Mex are on the same page here.
Okay.
And me and Alan are on the same page. And me and Holton are on the same page. And me and Ryan are on the same page. We all want inside linebackers. Slap wants Devin White as long as we're in the neighborhood and we're shopping, right?
How much are you going to pay for Devin White?
What does he want?
He may be close to 20 a year.
Here's what I have related to inside linebacker. I had a bunch of talks yesterday with people, including your man, Mark Robinson. Okay. And I wrote a column about this for DK Pittsburgh Sports today. That's on there. And I try to listen for what people say when they're parsing or when I'm parsing what they're saying and trying to figure out what it is that they really want to reveal.
Yeah.
And when they talk about Cole Holcomb and Elandon Roberts, they are speaking the language of a coach dealing with a space filler. Okay, I don't mean to be mean.
No, DK, the business is what the business suggests, right?
No question. Okay, and when I'm talking, I spent some time with the positional coach. I spent some time with the defensive coordinator, Mike Tomlin. They're saying we got these guys because they're starters. They're not saying here's what Roberts can bring. Here's what Holcomb can bring. Roberts has been mostly a spare part guy for a couple of years now.
He has.
And at the same time, they're all saying that Robinson's not ready. They all said that publicly on the record. Okay, and I mean, maybe he isn't, but maybe also figure out something schematically where you can use what he does bring.
But that does, to your point, becomes a little bit too predictable, and you can catch Mark like a deer in the headlights. The same thing we kind of dealt with Spillane a little bit last year, right? Is he can go out there in those short down distances, but if they get a first down and they hurry to the line of scrimmage, because if I was offensive coordinator and I know my personnel is in there and they do know their personnel to the line of scrimmage, I'm not giving you an opportunity to change.
You see, Holden says, and this argument falls so flat for me. No offense, Holden. But he says Holcomb is better than what we've had the last few years. Okay, but then he does say correctly, but that's not saying much. See, that's all I hear from everybody. Is he better than Spillane?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. And
Cole Holcomb.
I know what Ramon thinks of the Pro Football Focus kids.
Hey.
Okay? The whole world got to hear that at St. Vincent College. However, their most recent rankings, the inside linebacker positions, had the Steelers 32nd.
In linebacking? Middle linebacker?
Inside linebacker. 32.
That's fair. But DK, I'm going to go home on this one, okay? I'm going to go home on this one because I'm a homer and we're talking about the Steelers and everything I know about that locker room and what they do.
Go. Yep.
Getting a guy like Cole Holcomb and Elandon Roberts, right? Two guys that's been around a little bit. Elandon Roberts specifically. Let's go him.
Right.
They always find a way, DK, to maximize those guys for the time being. That's what I'm willing to say and wait on. That's the reason when you ask me what position I'm thinking of Elandon, I'm thinking of Cole Holcomb. I also say, well, maybe they will be able to sprinkle in the package for Mark Robinson. This is the thing for Mark Robinson for me. Everybody and their mama spoke about everything he was capable of doing, right, DK? Mm-hmm. And I don't know about you, but when I had that opportunity of starting a few games, you guys knew a little bit about me going into my second year, did you not?
Yes.
I made it my point to make sure that I stayed on the field for that point after. Period, DK. You only get these opportunities once or two times in your career as far as establishing yourself as a starter. Because going into year 3, if you don't have double-digit starts under your belt in some capacity, DK, then they're going to look for the new guy.
S400 says, could we convert an athletic corner into an inside linebacker? You can't make a corner
different
into a
weight.
Linebacker. However, since you brought it up, Keanu Neal is on this roster. Keanu Neal himself considers himself to be a part-time linebacker, a flex guy. That's what he's been in the past. He told me that himself. He expects to be used in different schemes where he's closer to the line of scrimmage, maybe not even necessarily just in the 3-safety set. So instead of having this standard ILB that you're forcing into coverage, you have someone for whom it comes naturally.
Yeah, definitely. I'm here for that too, but all of it's got to be seen. So I'm out, saying, yes, this is the answer because I don't know what the answer is going to look like till we get to Latrobe, right, DK? Mm-hmm. This is where I'm at too. I've seen this, and I think this situation right here from my guy, Brian Jonker.
Yep.
Brian Jonker goes, hey, Moan, man. He was like, will we see a bunch of 3 safeties on the field this year? Let me tell you about the 3 safety situation, though, to me and how I've seen it utilized. 3 safeties to me mean that you got a team reeling, or the fact that they have a lighter personnel out there and you're afforded to putting a guy up there that's circumstantial. Maybe it's hey, they're behind by 7 points or 6 points, and you need to be able to stop the pass and be able to have somebody stop the run. Have those combo guys. That's where you have a guy like Neil in, right? That's where it's fair. That's where you say Joey Porter Jr., hey, put your face in the fan. Let's go.
Face in the fan.
Trice, hey, I need you out there. Put your face in the fan right now. This is why I think leaning on the 3 safeties is an issue. Is when teams settle down in their offense and they got you reeling. And then you need bodies to be able to stop the run.
Sub them out.
Well, that's where it won't matter as much with 3 safeties being on the field. I think 3 safeties is very circumstantial.
At the Get-Go Cafe and Market, quality is at the core of every menu item. 3 expert chefs fine-tune every detail so that every sub burger, salad wrap, drink, and app is crafted for what they refer to as crave-ability. Order your favorite entry at the Get-Go Cafe and Market today. Better believe it. Thought I'd try the subdued approach.
You did. That was awesome. That was out of left field, too. And by the way, too, y'all, playing linebacker, I know Shazier looked thin. I know Devin Bush looked smaller.
They're not.
They're not, y'all. So thinking that it was my guy from Penn State that we thought Marcus Allen. Ask Marcus Allen what it's like playing in the middle. I think he was capable. I don't think he wanted to do it. You need a certain.
He did not want to do it. You didn't have to ask. You just had to watch.
Come on, DK. And that's the answer I was looking for, my brother.
Yeah. Speaking of Ryan Shazier, by the way, he's going to be here in our shop next week.
Yay.
Because next door, they are almost open with this new UFC gym. Shazier's going to be an ambassador for them. He's also going to be coming over with the CEO of UFC,
Dana,
right here into our studio. The CEO of UFC Gym.
Okay.
The GYM, the gymnasium. It's
All
taking up. Mo, and you've been here. The whole rest of the building. It's like it's going to be us, and then it's going to be like this gigantic gymnasium.
That's awesome for you.
Shazier's going to be here. And we're gonna do a completely separate podcast with him and the head of UFC Gym talking about what's going on here. We'll have it here on our YouTube channel so nobody can mix it. It'll be really good to see Ryan for the first time in a while. Forget what a great linebacker he was.
Definitely.
Just pure football. Jennifer asks, "Hey Moan, was Miles Jack really that bad? I thought he was playing hurt."
I think it was a little bit of his injuries for sure.
It was.
Yeah. A lot of guys, man, are weird with injuries. One, they don't want to be out, but when they try to play with them, they're not themselves.
That's it. Okay, I have to jump in because
go ahead, do your thing.
He and I talked about this a lot late in the season. He ended up playing through a grade 3 groin tear because they needed him. Because look at their alternatives. Now, unfortunately, football is really cruel as a business, okay? So whatever Jack did probably made his injury that much worse and is now costing him this summer. Do you follow me? And the cap hit, but he's still out there.
And that's why I was going to say, because Irving asked this earlier too, DK, just asked the same conversation. Hey, Moan, is it possible for us to see Miles Jack back? There's always an opportunity. The fact that he's still on the street right now, and yes, 100%. It's a matter of, DK, cap, how they break that money up, and if he's willing again, and I think he will be. One of my good buddies always say, hey, oatmeal is better than no meal, okay? You better go eat if there's something on your plate to eat with. So, yeah, I can see him being back.
Yeah, I can too, but it hasn't happened yet.
But, DK, he's a vet. Why does he need to be there right now when it's essentially the same defense?
Because
that's my only pushback.
Because he needs to get paid. That's my only pushback.
No. I was agreeing with you.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying there's still time for him to be signed.
Yeah, there is, but I mean, if he were to have made it into somebody's camp, you know, I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. I hope that for his sake, because this is a great dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
A hell of a competitor too,
and all that. Now,
yes.
He didn't generate a lot of splash last year either, but that's not why he was acquired. He was acquired to seal the middle and to stop the bleeding when it came to the run.
And he won more games in Pittsburgh than he ever did in Jacksonville in 1 year.
And he definitely did that. There are other options out there. I remain of the mind that Omar Khan, the con artist, is going to get somebody. Antoine says, hey, Moan, do you think Mark Robinson can be that guy when he is ready? A running back turned inside cover linebacker who can thump. That's a gem.
Yes, that is a gem. But what do I always tell guys, DK, when it comes down survival in the league? You've heard me have this conversation before. Like, being overly athletic, being insanely good and fast and skilled at your position means nothing if you can't learn the playbook and your responsibilities. Do I think he's capable? Yes, because I think he's a smart guy. I think he wants it. It's a matter of actually executing and computing it in your mind and making your body do those things too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why I said, too, the pressure on him in year 2, Mark Robinson specifically him, because we've heard so much. And most of the other rookies, except for CA3, has done something. Only reason that Calvin Austin hasn't is because of an injury.
Mm-hmm.
There's probably more pressure on Mark Robinson as a year 2 guy than almost anybody in the last few years.
Good question for you here from Moses Miller. It says, hey, Moan, why do you think Mike Tomlin has or had confidence in Matt Canada?
Oh, that's a very fair question. I think I actually started this one, DK, to give you that answer, man.
Do you think that he does have confidence in Matt Canada?
I think he has confidence in him, but I also think it's one of those situations where he's good for a young quarterback. I think he has some good ideas that we've yet to see. I think it's fair to kind of say that, DK.
Mm-hmm.
And he watched them work. And I know this about Coach Tomlin. If you got insane work ethic, if you've got an insane affinity to want to win, then he going to ride with you for a little bit. But this is one thing about Coach Tomlin, too. He will not hesitate to cut bait. He had a year with Canada. This is the only thing I can tell y'all, because Canada comes up often, and everybody asks the question, will he be retained or will he be fired after this year? I think the conversation started with Mr. Rooney. We said this a couple of days ago. He wanted everything to stay the same for Kenny, and I think that was a proper response for a guy going into a second year. We've never been that type of team to fire a guy and stunt the development of one of your key players / quarterbacks. I think that made sense, and I think it makes sense with Coach Tomlin. If it don't work, get rid of him this year.
Really good one from Jacob. Says, hey, Moan, why do players sound so robotic during interviews? It's like they're being told what to say. Can I jump in on that since I'm the one that asked the questions?
Please.
Jacob, we love you here, man. I don't agree with it at all. No, I'm just saying that because Ramon's sitting here. I could show you interviews, and I do show them to you once in a while. Did you think Calvin Austin sounded robotic?
No.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, I've had interactions with guys just in the past 48 hours that would debunk this. Now, that's not to say that there aren't some, okay, especially when there are rookies. And maybe because you're seeing, Jacob, right now, a lot of interviews with rookies, because that's who we're going to talk to, because they're the new guys and they're exciting and they're interesting, okay?
Yes.
And so that's what, like, Darnell Washington, for example, strikes me as someone who, like, I was halfway through an interview with him, and he was giving a lot of these canned type answers. But then another player comes along, okay, and I kind of got the two of them to interact a little bit, and all of a sudden it was fun. Well, that's who Darnell Washington's going to be in year 2 and 3. Go ahead, Mo.
So to that point, too, about why guys sound like their stock answers, it's because some, DK, respectfully, some journalists, reporters are pricks, too.
I have heard.
Some are. And word gets around the locker room, and they will tell you, be cautious of what you say. They're your words.
To this person or that person.
Yes, there is that gotcha type of reporter at times. So DK's never been that type. You'll flat out ask the question, and you'll be like, hey, this stays here. Like, it's always that type of stuff when it comes down to it. But trust is also huge, because you don't ever want to be the guy giving bulletin board material unless you're just willing to stand up to your own words. Anyway,
trust is everything when it comes to this stuff, because that's one of those, like, remember whenever, like, half of everybody got mad at me for the questions I was asking Kevin Dotson a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
You know who loved the questions?
Dotson
did. Because he knows I'm real with him. Okay. Yeah. And it wasn't negative or confrontation or anything. I just said, hey, Kev, are you mad? I just want to know if you're mad.
And it's better, too, because some guys tiptoe around asking guys harder questions, but there's also a way to ask a hard question, too, DK.
Yeah.
Right?
And actually part of your job, and I'm underscoring the word job here, is to make sure that you're equipped with that. Okay. If there's a really difficult situation, okay, such as, for example, that one time in Chicago when all of the reporters, after this huge loss and everything else that went on here, and over here are the quarterbacks and over here are the other big stars and everybody else, where was everybody huddled?
Around my locker.
Around Ramon's locker. Why?
Yep.
Because we needed the adult in the room. Okay. And what we also needed was someone who knew and could trust that we would be responsible with what he said and not take him out of context. And it's trust.
It's trust. 100% trust, people. That's why, though.
Yeah. There's
really good question.
Man, Jacob's just coming in here and killing it today with that one. Jim Fairfield says, if the offense goes bad early, does Canada last the season? I actually prefer this to the pick a week questions.
Yeah. Also, to me, in my personal opinion, I think Canada gets 6 games before we judge what it looks like too, DK. The first 6. I think it's fair to give them that because that's going to take us up to the bye week also. And I also saw this keeps popping up too, DK. Watch it. From my guy Koken.
Thomas, first incompletion.
And this is the thing, though, too, DK, with Glenn Thomas. I know we talked about him for a little bit, man, but what is a Glenn Thomas-style offense also?
It's just passing, that's always been his thing,
Yeah. But if that's the case, then we also must say, well, I think it's proper for Canada to be around for one more to let Kenny understand how to run offenses then. I ain't on the Matt Canada train, but I will say this. Being somebody that's been judged, I think sometimes unfairly myself about the position, I ain't saying he needs that much time to grow, but I'm saying, look, it's fair to watch and see what the growth is going to be before we cut bait. That's where I'll lie at right there.
Mm-hmm. Well, before or after the Glenn Thomas statue goes up.
Yeah, I hear you, Sticky B.
Marvin has a word of advice for the community. Marvin says, hey, DK and Ramon, it's Marvin enjoying the show. I like the way he introduces that. But I hope everyone can be patient and let things play out to see where we go from there. We're a long way from seeing anything concrete with this team. There have been some things, and I say that in either direction. There have been exciting moments related to, for example, the 2 rookie corners. There are always going to be exciting moments related to George Pickens and like a Hakeem Butler, someone like that. There's going to be a Camp Darling or 2 or 5.
Yeah, it is. But I'm with Marvin. Marvin, I didn't even see your comment before I made that a second ago. I pretty much said let's wait and see on this one. Canada know his feet and seat is hot.
Mm-hmm. Can we pass on first down a little bit this year? Asks Pittsburgh Steel Lit.
I did used to like that. It takes the anxiety out of first down plays, DK.
Oh, as a player.
Oh,
that's interesting.
God.
Why?
There's nothing worse than like converting and then trying to get another big play on first down or like 5 to 6 yards. Because let me break it down to you. The mindset of it is this is why I always like if you have a very competent athlete around you that know how to like do things well, like they understand like offenses and adversity. First down, 1st and 10. Cool. If we're 2nd and 6, I breathe. 2nd and 5, I breathe. We're 2nd and 8 and 9, or we lose a couple yards, anxiety ramps up because the playbook shrinks and shrinks and shrinks by the more yards you got to get. And there's nothing worse than the pressure, DK, of having to figure out what's going to work and not being able to trick the other side of the ball, too.
Just a natural feel, too. First down, you get a big play. What's the first thing you do as an offensive lineman? You move forward.
It sucks being in 2nd and long.
You move forward.
Because 3rd and long gets that harder.
Patrick Mason says, hey, Moan, what's your pick for the best positional battle in this upcoming training camp and why?
Oh, my. Easy. Outside linebackers, tackles. Period. Because you mentioned a guy last week that goes by 90 who said it's a whole lot different whenever he is out there at camp. And you got Chooks that got to go prove it. You got Dan Moore that got to go prove it. You also got Broderick Jones that got to go prove it. And it's a lot of a whirlwind situation on figuring out who's going to start DK. I could easily say wide receiver versus corner, JJ. Versus Calvin Austin versus George Pickens. Like, it's young on young, but I almost look at that veteran group of O-line versus D-line and saying, go get it, especially when it comes down to Dan Moore and Broderick Jones. That's the heated one.
Did I tell you about my exchange yesterday with Coach Dunbar?
Yeah, with Cam?
Yeah, where I said, no, I said something. No, this was different. I said, you have Cam and you have Larry O. Well, who's the wild card? Who do you looking to see rise up as the third?
Yeah.
Okay. And he just tilts his head at me. Okay. And remember that he can play coy too. This is a really, really, really smart guy.
Yeah.
And he tilts his head at me and says, what do you mean by that? It's Montravius Adams. And I went, not to him, but inside my head, I go, Montravius Adams? Really?
Yeah.
It's not Keanu Benton. Oh, wait, Keanu Benton's the rookie.
He ain't gonna say much about a rookie, is he?
Not gonna say much about him. And they didn't bring up any of the other, there's other players that are in that mix. He brings up Montravius. And for what it's worth, Montravius might or might not have been running with the first team. So nobody mentions Montravius.
Hey.
But this was thrown like this right back in my face. And what am I going to say to him? You're the defensive line coach. You've been there for a million years. You're right. I'm wrong.
Hey, when Coach Dunbar talk, I always listen, DK.
That's I'm not
Him
sure.
and Coach Mitch are 1-1. There, you want to talk about going from one great D-line coach to another. You couldn't have got a better success plan than Coach Dunbar.
My goodness. You want to talk about real, too. Mark Lancaster says, hey, Moan, do you think there's pressure on Pat Freiermuth to put up good numbers this season, with Darnell Washington on the sideline? They should have playing the same position, really.
No, not even. Pat's going to eat regardless. That's the way I kind of view it. Pat going into his third year right now. I think he may be in Nashville soon, too, for that tight end with George Kittle and those guys that they do down here in Nashville. He's in that in crowd of young guys on their way to stardom. Pat's going to eat. The only question I have for Pat is how much is he going to share with the wide receivers group. We might mess around and see Pat with almost 50 receptions this year. That would be beautiful.
Well, more likely than not, he's going to be on the right side and Darnell's going to be on the left when you're talking about two tight end sets here. Now, to the point there, could he become tight end one? Wow. Let's put it this way. Imagine how great he'd have to be.
Yeah.
And there's no negatives in that one. Sergio wants to know, hey, Moan, thinking about how Kenny Pickett likes Matt Canada and we hope it develops into something great. How did the relationship between Ben and Todd Haley affect their play or the harmony in the locker room?
Ben and Haley's situation was never like a public spat dispute or tension. Ben and Coach Haley knew they were good together and what they were doing was epic. I do know that for a fact. They communicated well. If he gave Ben the keys to the car in no huddle, Ben just drove it. You think Todd was going to say much about it? No. And here's the other portion of it, too.
You think Ben was going to say much about it after the game? Yeah.
But hear me out on this, though, too, DK. That's fair. That's very fair and true. But hear me out on this. Just because a player likes a coach don't mean that it's good for him, though, too. We need to understand that, my job is to get the best out of you. And if Canada ain't get the best out of Kenny, then DK, what good is that for us? None.
Yeah, none.
Did you think Haley was able to get the best out of Ben? Or at least I'll say this, he helped us as an old line formulate a plan to keep him cleaner and long in the games longer. I'm sure he was appreciative of that, if anything.
Yeah, that would be one of those cases like if you go back to the original decision that, by the way, was made by Art Rooney and not by anybody below him, where he just said, listen, we want Ben for another few years. Ben's not going to live that long.
Yeah.
If he just keeps scrambling all over creation and if everything is just, drawing plays up in the sand, it's not going to happen. So what was needed probably more than anything was somebody who was exactly as stubborn, obstinate, and tough-skinned as Todd Haley.
Come on.
And if he could coordinate, if he could draw up plays, so much the better.
Come on.
But let's have the other stuff first. And that's what he did. He stood up to Ben in a building where how many people would stand up to Ben, Moan?
One?
Oh, okay.
Two?
Yeah.
The head coach and Mr. Rooney, maybe
in the whole building. In the whole building.
Here's the thing, though, too. Screw a friend. We want to win. That's the motto right there, DK. Screw a friend. We want to win, man.
I like this one, too. Dr. Shadow, we have Dr. Shadow we do not have Dr. Shadow as a member. What is that all about? All these great questions.
But also, Sticky B ain't wrong, though, either. As you go back to that one right quick. What is the ETM, the dolly emojis?
I could check with who would have to author the research department. The dolly emoji. They want to know when it's coming.
What is it going to mean?
The U emoji. What is it going to mean? She wants to know. What's the symbolic value of it?
Savage.
Just see how we have the.
should be good job? Like
good job is what it should mean, she says, because she does a good job.
No. It's like when you guys do a good job, you get a dolly.
Could you hear that?
Yeah. That was loud and clear. You can go back to Dr. Shadow. I haven't started.
Dr. Shadow says, hey, Moan, what defensive teammate made you better in practice?
It's a broken record, but it's Cam. Easily. One-on-ones was awesome. Vinny was real good. I would also go Javon Hargraves, especially when he was younger. Mm-hmm. Hargraves had a unique ability to rush and not look like he was good at it. And I used to, when he was doing scout team stuff as a young guy, I used to be able to tell Wobble, like, hey, I need you to be able to do this move. Or he would get me in scout period. And I'd be like, hey, do that again. He was so good at it. Oh, my, yeah. And I got to give a shout out, too, to the DBs. That when we had, like, fast guys rushing off the edge, Munch and even Coach Tomlin would send the DBs down to us and have us try to block them off the edge or in a 3 technique off of me. Those guys are really good at that. Rob Golden took it so serious.
Rob Golden took everything seriously. That doesn't count.
Yeah, I know.
Antoine says, put it on a T-shirt. Moan and DK, screw a friend. We want to win. LOL.
You put that on the South Side. That could be a wild conversation.
Our final question for the day goes to Osgood Peabody, who says, hey, Moan, which of the Steelers greats from the 70s did you most enjoy spending time with when they came back for visits with the team? We never let the 70s go, though.
Why would we? Why would we? All right, my answers is this, and this is just they was always open and honest and inviting. 2 guys specifically that come off to me, and it may be because I spent more time with them too. I can go Mel Blount, of course, easily him, right? But the 2, and these are the 2 of the most iconic. Franco Harris, to be able to sit down with him at dinner and just talk it out, like to be invited in. And this was a me, him, and Marquise conversation, okay? Phenomenal group. The conversation was good. And honestly, you just be in that air with them was awesome. And the other one was Mean Joe Green. Or Mr. Joe Green. Joe Green, whatever you call him. I was going to say,
there was no Mean Joe anything.
Joe Green, man. One, I had his throwback jersey in college, and to actually meet the man and shake his hand and his mitts just cross over mine. But when he talked, you listened. He reminds me of my grandfather, and I say that respectfully because they're around the same age too, so I can say that. It's no disrespect. But to have him look at you, have a conversation, and me personally, hey, Mr. Green, can I get a picture? And he'd be like, no problem. Yeah, let's take one. But those conversations you're able to have with him and see him walking with his stature, those 2 guys kind of get me when we're talking about that 70s team.
Yeah, out of the – I will say this. This might surprise some people because I've met Mr. Green. I've had the great fortune to have a good conversation with him as well as an interview back when I was with the newspapers. And Mel Blount scares the hell out of me.
Does he?
I mean, I just see – the problem with the difference between, like, Mean Joe is still in great shape, great health. God bless him, okay?
Yes, indeed.
Mel looks like he can play now.
Yeah.
And that's different from me. That's like going into a time warp.
Yeah.
And being transported to the, 1976, and I'm an infant child who just worships the Steelers and everything, and seeing Mel Blount and going, dude. Like,
yeah.
It's just very, very, I don't know. There's just something about those 2 that was different for me.
And it was, too. And the thing about Mel Blount is what, though, DK? He still does stuff on his farm. So he can reach out and punch you probably dead in your chest.
This is what I'm talking about.
and shock the heck out of you, right?
And the work that he's done with youth in terms of disciplining troubled youth and everything like that, instilling that. I don't mean to make that sound negative. I just – it's I'm starting to lose it here a little bit.
Yeah. But also, I would throw this in there too. The Rooney family, them being a part of it too. I know you asked for players, but Ambassador Rooney, before he passed, like legitimately, just a guy doing his job, enjoying the franchise.
Definitely not intimidating, though.
Not intimidating
in any way, shape, or form.
What a dude. Jeez, what a dude.
Yeah, last word for the day goes to Mr. Cy, who gets it right. Mel Blount is an amazing, amazing dude. One of these days, we're going to do an all 70s. It's amazing to me. This is why I was shaking my head earlier here. It's not negative. I was extremely young back then. I don't have the same, the same awareness or whatever connection that a lot of our viewers will have, but they just will not let them go. Like they won't let the 70s go,
Yeah.
And maybe it's because a lot of them left after that because of the steel mills closing or whatever. But I just have it's like, other good stuff's happened since then.
So who brings up more about their 70s? Is it the Steelers or is it the 72 Dolphins?
Oh, it's the Steelers by still. It's not even close. The Dolphins thing is really specific.
Yeah.
With Steelers fans, it's just embracing the entire decade and everything. And they also make it sound like it wasn't hell on earth for the city at the time, which it was.
It was. Yeah.
And the pollution and everything else here, the 70s were arguably the worst decade in the city of Pittsburgh's history.
What?
Oh, yeah. The economic stuff that happened, we had a complete collapse. We were like Chernobyl.
Yeah.
We had an outward migration of 250,000 people. That's never happened in the history of the United States before or since. So, if they want to get sappy about the football team and whatever, and the fact that the Pirates won a couple of World Series and everything, that's great. But the idea everything was great in the 70s, no, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. Okay, then.
It's a lot better now. All right, one more from Dr. Shadow, but this is only because we have one last chance to poke
we did
Dr.
this one
Shadow.
already.
Oh, we did?
Yeah. I said Jay Wobble.
Yeah.
And Cam.
Yeah, you did. Okay.
And also, I'm throwing Bud in there, too. Bud was a headache to deal with. God.
Bud was different, though.
I love and hated Bud in practice.
Unpredictable.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Don't forget that you can become a member of the Ramon Foster Show by going to dkps.net/join. And that goes double for our man, Dr. Shadow. We did get, who were we pushing just before that?
Who do we have?
We were coercing. I'm looking for it here.
Yeah, I think we lost some, DK.
No.
I had a few today.
Yeah, but we got him in. I can't find it now. But we had somebody that we were pushing, and they did come across, and it's appreciated. So anyway, that's all we got for today. We'll do another one tomorrow.
Absolutely, DK. Let's rock it.
All right.
All right. Look at my guy finding it. Okay. Take it off the screen. No,
I'm still looking for the individual to thank. This makes for some riveting video viewing.
It is some riveting video, DK.
All right. We'll try it after the little outro.
After the delay. All right. Peace, man. You know what I got?
I'm still looking, but go ahead.
You know what I got? It's one of the most expensive currencies and wanted currencies in the world.
I can't tell what that is. What is
that's an iPhone charger.
It is?
Yeah, it is. It's still wrapped up. You know how many times these get stolen around people's houses, DK?
How does that get charged like that?
Well, this one is a new one that I have that came with some headphones. But an iPhone charger has to be the most stolen item in the world. Hey, can I borrow your charger? Only to never get it back. I know it's so many folks that believe that and have that issue too.
William McDuffie is a member. Never let it be said that
Bill?
we will find a way to thank you for coming across and being a member. So there it is. There it is.
Yes, it is.
All right, guys,
DK.
let's do it tomorrow. This was fun.
Keep up with your chargers, okay?